Hello, this is Danny Daniels. Today is June 6th. It's another beautiful day out here in Colorado. I'm on the patio once again. It's not my patio, this is my client's patio. I'm with my client about 4 days a week. And it's good for me because I can work while I'm working, and then I have 3 days off where I could just focus on my writing. So this is just perfect. Just got a message from my little sweetheart. And I don't know about the rest of you, but my day gets started when I wake up. So this morning, my day got started with a wake-up text from my little sweetheart. And he was telling me that he fell asleep thinking about me and woke up this morning thinking about me. Now, normally when a man texts me with a message that says something like, "Hello, beautiful," I am not moved. If anything, I'm more irritated than anything else because it's such a cliche. and then they'll just say, "Hello, beautiful," and not follow it up with anything else. That's just it. Really? But this one, and I fell asleep kind of early-ish for me anyway, last evening. And so when he sent the message, knowing how he is, it made me smile immediately. And then I checked my messages, and he had left me a message at the time that he was thinking about me. And it said that, "I know it's late, but I'm thinking about you. How are you?" Very, very sweet. That's the type of person that he is, and that's the type of person that I am attracted to. I know men get caught up in this whole phallic symbol of who they are, and they rate things based on their sexual prowess. All of that, it does play into it, but it's not everything. I don't know. I look at people when I'm out. I don't just stare at people, but I do notice people, and I notice that there's a lot of, I would say, unattractive people with very attractive other people. How does that happen? Because beauty comes from within. It's from what's within that defiles a person, that makes a person truly horrible. And any person that's worth his or her weight in salt is going to look beyond that outward appearance and see that inner beauty a lot of times. I used to, oh my God, this is such a cute story. I used to work with this young girl years ago. And my husband, well, he's very attractive to me. He's not attracted to me anymore because of all the ugliness that I experienced with him. And now when I look at him, I'm just repulsed. I'm just like, ugh, I want to throw up. But before that, he was super fine. I mean, super duper fine. Matter of fact, when I saw this man standing in my living room, I was like, who is that? Let me go check myself. Would he like me? What's going on? What's his name? So, and it was funny how we started dating, and I'm not going to share that. It's quite personal. But he went to the gym a lot, and he worked out quite a bit. And I was dating this man who, every time I went to lift anything, if I just went to move a vase of flowers on the coffee table, he would jump up and move it for me. Always very, very helpful. It got to be irritating to me. I'm like, I can do some things on my own. I don't need this degree of chivalry from you. It was beautiful. I'm going to need you to relax and let me do some things on my own. Well, I'm going to just call him Superfine. Mr. Superfine didn't help me do anything. And in the beginning, it was refreshing. It was very refreshing because he was at my house and I was rearranging the furniture. And I got to the part where I'm moving the sofa, and he was sitting at the dining room table. This man didn't get up, didn't lift a finger to help me move my sofa. And I was thinking, that's refreshing. He knows that I could do this on my own. That refreshing did not last, let me tell you, okay? See, what you think is cute, it ain't always cute. throughout my entire relationship. Mr. Fine turned out to be Mr. Super Lazy. I'm sorry, I do laugh a lot. I can't help it. I find life humorous, thank God. Anyway, this man didn't help me do zip, bucket, squat, nada. To get him to do anything, I would always have to threaten to divorce him. That was the only way this man would move. So I was like, why did I find that so refreshing in the beginning? Womp womp. Not so refreshing. It was quite stale. And all he cared about was video games and going to the gym. I'm like, oh my gosh. He was standing in the mirror, flexing his muscles. And I went to the gym with one of my girlfriends. And there was another woman in the gym with us. And it was just the four of us in the gym. So my husband is flexing in front of the mirrors. And me and my girlfriend were on the bikes. And we look over at him like, oh God, there he goes again. Just stop. And we're disgusted, okay? So then we look over at this other woman who was in the gym, and she's looking at him with the same amount of disgust on her face as we had. We're all three women registering the same degree of disgust. And we're just like glaring at him. It didn't stop his game. I mean, this man was so in love with self. He could care less. He's still prostrating in the mirror. So the stranger lady, she rolled her head so hard, I thought she had whiplash. I'm like, oh my gosh. And she got up and left the gym. And me and my girlfriend burst out laughing, and then we saw her laughing because she was looking at us as she walked down the hall. And we're just all three shaking our head, and he was clueless. He actually turned around and said, "What's so funny?" I was so embarrassed. I tell you, I was just, whoa. But anyway, let me digress. It's still a fun memory when I think back on it, because he was something else. Quite a piece of work. But anyway. Woo. Back to my little sweetie who woke me up this morning and put a song in my heart. He just really did. And so I read my message and we're texting back and forth a little bit. I can accept his message because I know that it's genuine, it's pure. And that's what this particular female wants in a relationship, something genuine and pure. Once I ask, and I'm alluding to this fact of be careful what you think you want. Maybe that's what I'll title this message. You need to be careful. I thought I wanted, after going through a bad relationship, a couple of them, I thought I wanted honesty in my relationship. I'm like, I want somebody who could just tell me the truth. Just be honest. You know, if you fall out of love with me, tell me. If you feel like bringing in somebody else, you want to experiment with another female, just tell me what's going on. Tell me what it is. I don't know if I really want that much honesty. I think sometimes it's good to be lied to. You don't have to tell me all the time what you think of my outfit, or all the time exactly what you think of my lie. Be careful when you say I want an honest relationship, because I had one of those. I said that, and this man gave me exactly what I asked for. It was an honest relationship, and I'd say, you want to go do this? No, I absolutely don't feel like it. Well, okay, what do you want to do? Well, not to be rude, but I just want to be by myself. Ooh, okay. Now, I'm exaggerating because it wasn't that bad. But the honesty, it was too much. That relationship did not last long. I was honest with him, he was honest with me, and we were killing each other. I don't don't know what's a good measure. You have to figure this thing out. You have to gauge it and wage it, because nothing is absolute and nothing is finite and nothing is standard. It's just all based on individuality, and everything is diverse, so you just never know. But I will say it, and it has been written and it has been said before, be careful what you ask for, because you just might get it. So I went from getting tired of having this man who was, I'm not going to say subservient, because we were both equally respectful of one another, but he was chivalrous, and abundantly so. And I thought that it was too much. But when I wound up with the man that I wound up with, I missed the chivalry, and I wish that I had it. So, and that I can understand, being content with what you have. And it's hard to know that. It's hard to know that that grass isn't really as green on the other side as you thought it was, and the only reason why the color stayed is because it was artificial turf. You want the real thing. You want the real McCoy. And what I like about this sweetheart is that when he talks to me, this is something that I do value, and it is a make or break for me in any relationship with a man. I am not going to be your afterthought. I'm not going to allow myself to be the person that you say, oh, I should have done this with you. I would have, but then this came up. I'm not going to be your afterthought. It's just not going to happen. I decided that I didn't want to be with anybody who had small children. But you can't tell love who you're going to love. You just can't. But I was with this person for a minute. I'm going to call it a minute. I really liked him. And he didn't pay any attention to his children, and that really bothered me. He was going through a divorce. And I'm like, you got to pay attention to your babies. And then he told me, well, I admire the way you are with your girls. You're always with them. I got distracted by a bumblebee. Anyway, he says, you're always with them, and you guys go out, and you go out to Sunday breakfast, and then when you invite me, he called us a posse. I love being a part of your posse. I'm like, well, whatever, we like you, so we're good. Then he took it a little too far. He started spending too much time with his kids, and I became his afterthought. And I'm like, you got to have good measure in that thing. It's good. I want you to be with your kids. I want you to love your kids. But when you make plans with me, don't cancel, because you decided to do a little extra with your kids. And I didn't want to meet his kids at this time because he was going through a divorce. I didn't want to be a part of another problem. I didn't want to deal with that whole baby mama drama. And children, when they're going through, that's another topic. I'm not going to get too deep into it right here, but children, when they're going through divorce, they love both their parents. They don't want to see either one of their parents move on. They want their parents to work it out. So I thought the last thing you need right now while you're going through this is to introduce your baby to some other woman. I'm not going to do it. It happened to me. My ex-husband decided prematurely to date. Yes, that's right. He committed adultery. And he came over to the house, and our baby was 5 years old. He said that he had a surprise for her, and he was taking her somewhere. We were still married. We were separated, living in two different places. And so she went with her father for her surprise. When she came home, it was like at about 6 or 7 in the evening. She came home, and my oldest daughter didn't go with him. She wasn't his biological. He adopted her, but she wasn't the biological. She didn't go with him. So my oldest daughter, I was in my bedroom, and I heard my oldest daughter yelling at my baby. So I come out of my room, and I'm like, why are you yelling at her? Oh, nothing, no reason. I was just really not, I was just telling her not to do something. And Ruth just looked so sad. My baby looked so upset. I said, okay, what gives? Why is she upset? You should be happy. You just spent the entire day with your dad. Didn't you like your surprise? And then my oldest daughter frowns. Yeah, that's the problem. Oh, and she just became so angry. She went from mild mannered to full blown Tasmanian devil angry. I could see all this anger on my oldest daughter's face. I said, what's the problem? What was the surprise? So Ruth says, I don't want to talk about it. I said, why don't you want to talk about it? Didn't you like your surprise? And she says, no. And I said, well, what happened? What's the surprise? Where is it? And she said, we went to the zoo. Oh, well, that's a nice surprise. You like the zoo. And Deandra goes, that's not the surprise. So I'm like, okay, I've asked, what gives? What gives? He took my baby to meet his mistress and her child. It devastated both my girls. My oldest girl, who didn't even experience it, when she heard it, her first thought was, don't tell mom, this would hurt her. And my youngest felt so horrible because she didn't ask for this. She didn't know what to do with it. She went with her parent, and it was supposed to be something fun. And she went to do this fun thing, and it was ruined. And so when I heard it, I tried very hard not to have a reaction. But I'm a human being, and I have feelings, and I have emotions. And while we were separated, I wasn't separated by my choice. You know, I still love this man. I went to my room, and I went in the shower. That's where I do my crying, you know. So, and I try to not be heard. But my oldest daughter knows my routine. When I come out of the shower, she was yelling again at her sister. And I heard her say, I told you not to tell her. And my daughter, my baby, has been devastated and carried that all of her life. She still will fiercely protect her mother. And if you hurt her mother, it's not that she doesn't like you. She hates you. She will not repent from that no matter what I say. She cannot deal with it. It was a horrible experience for her. It was a horrible experience for me. It was a horrible experience for my oldest daughter. It traumatized the three of us. His choice to commit adultery traumatized us, and we were innocent. So be careful what you do, because it's not always just about you. You touch other people's lives. We all touch each other. We're all serving each other, and excuse me, we're not gonna make it without one another. So I would just say, be respectful to other people. And when it comes down to adultery, if you're going to cheat, don't fool yourself into thinking you're never going to get caught. Nobody's going to find out. Cheating is why we separated, by the way. But you're going to be found out 9 times out of 10. You murder somebody, you think you're going to get away with it? Chances are you're probably going to get caught, especially the way forensic science goes nowadays. You're just not going to be able to get by with that. So think about it. Really think about it. And if you're engaged in a relationship, especially for the ladies, and it happens to men too, don't allow yourself to be an afterthought. Don't allow yourself to be a second-class citizen to whatever it is that he's doing. If he can't put you first, and they are always more chivalrous, more romantic, more everything in the early phases of dating. If he's showing you his worst and you're just dating, never marry. Because if you marry him, then he's got you, and he's got you trapped, and he's not ever going to get any better. And you're going to keep on making excuses, because love covers a multitude of sin. You'll make excuse on top of excuse on top of excuse to forgive this man and be with this man, and it is only going to get worse. And if you have children, you're not helping those children. You're hurting those children. You're damaging those children. And more I've been seeing these articles where these stepfathers and boyfriends have been raping these babies and killing them And the mothers from the articles I read, they are aware of it. They're aware that he's being abusive to their baby, but they want a man so bad that they stay. And I can't remember the baby that was just killed a few months ago. She was just so cute and so beautiful. And he took her. There was video footage. She's following him. There was no sound, but she's following him into the apartment. And the next thing you know, the video shows he's coming out carrying a basket with a black trash bag in it. That basket that he was carrying with the black trash bag in it, and his son was following behind him. I think his son was 4 years old. That was her body. He had beaten and raped and killed this child and put her body in a garbage bag. Devastating. Absolutely devastating. So be careful what you expose your kids to. Sometimes you don't even know. I was watching this movie. I think it was Kate Winslet in it. It was called Chaos. And I love period pieces. And this was another period piece. It was called Chaos. And she was a gardener. Before, her little sub-story in this movie was she had been married. And her child was about 12. Her husband announced to her one morning that he was going into the town of Barry and having an affair. And so she was like, wait a minute, you decided to have an affair? And he's telling her, yeah, it's quite standard. Everybody does it. It's no big deal, whatever. He drops this bombshell on her. She's very upset. The next thing she knows, he's taking their kid out with him that day. But she doesn't know where he's going. So she goes outside to wave goodbye to her daughter. The wheel on the carriage was wobbly. So she's talking to the maintenance attendants who attends to the carriage. And she goes, that wheel is wobbly. Aren't you going to fix it? And she goes, he says, well, the master says it's okay. He says it'll last until they get to Barry. And she looked at him and she said, what? Barry? And he's like, yeah. So it hits her mind. He's taking my daughter to see his mistress. Okay, she lost it. So the carriage is on the move. So she's running to stop this carriage because she does not want him taking her child to see his mistress. The driver of the carriage, because she runs out towards the carriage. So the driver halts the carriage and he pulls back on the reins and the horses lift up. They hit a rock. The wheel hits a rock. The wheel falls off the carriage. The carriage winds up toppling over a cliff. And she's devastated because for her, she has murdered her husband and her daughter. And she's tormented by that. She meets this man. She falls in love with him. And he's an aide to the king. Tells their story. They're building a garden together and whoop-de-whoop-de-woo. But all throughout the time between the loss of her daughter and meeting this new man, she was tormented and having these feelings that she lost her daughter. And this man helped her get by that and heal from that devastation and helped her understand that it was not your fault. It was an unfortunate accident. It happened. It's devastating when you involve children in your mess, and it happens all the time. It would seem that it's unavoidable. How do you not involve your children in your mess? I don't know. But I know I try very hard. I try very hard not to let my children see me cry because I don't want them to be weak. As a result, I have very strong, but they're very emotional girls, but they're strong. But they still have feelings. They love deeply. They love hard. So be mindful of how you're treating someone. And be aware of how you too would want to be treated. And if you just can't do right, Lord help us all. That's all I can say. I'm Danny Daniels. You guys have a good day. Hope this message wasn't a downer. Kind of felt a little low. So I'm like, let me get out of here. Let me get back to the smiles. So here it is. the smiles. Smile. Be happy. Mwah. Love you.